This is the Everyday AI Show, the everyday podcast where we simplify AI and bring its power to your fingertips. Listen daily for practical advice to boost your career, business, and everyday life.
So the big news when it comes to AI features you can actually use this week might just be, well, we have to wait another few weeks until we get a new large language model from Google or OpenAI. We were supposed to get big updates to Gemini 3.5 Pro and OpenAI's GPT-5.6 in June, but reporting from The Information says that Anthropic's Fable showdown with the White House has slowed down other labs in releasing AI models. And that reporting also indicates that the new OpenAI GPT 5.6 may be rolling out to customers in tiers, so not all at once. That part may be a bummer, but that didn't stop Google, OpenAI, Anthropic, and others from dropping a ton of useful AI features that are available now and will make your workflow even easier. And I mean, there was a ton this week, actually. So many great ones that three personal ones I'm excited about didn't even make our cut of top 7. I mean, Gemini study notebooks, Codex releasing a digital ocean plugin, and Google adding computer use in 3.5 Flash didn't even make our list of top 7. But there were a ton that did make this week's top 7 fresh AI features you can use. So on today's show, you're going to learn why at-home smart speakers may finally be making the AI leap, because ALEXA plus is terrible. You're going to learn how those repeatable tasks in Excel may be a thing of the past, plus up for that. And you're going to know a new way of working collaboratively with AI if your team relies on Claude and Slack. And I think a lot of teams are going to like that one. We're going to get into all of that and a lot more on today's show. Welcome to Everyday AI. If you're new here, my name's Jordan Wilson, and well, we do this every day. This is your daily, unscripted, live stream, podcast, and free daily newsletter helping business leaders like you and me keep up with all these AI advancements. I tell you what matters, what doesn't. You use that information to be the smartest person in AI at your company and grow your company and career. Starts here, but make sure you go to youreverydayai.com. Sign up for the free daily newsletter. We're going to be recapping not just the highlights from today's show, but all of the other AI news you need to know to get ahead. Yeah, so like I said, a lot of recent news on some of the government slowdowns affecting all labs when it comes to frontier level large language models. But that didn't stop all these other great, useful AI features that we have and are available now. So without further ado, let's get into it. And let's start with, well, technically the most used single model on the world, in the world, which is GPT 5.5 Instant. So this is not a model that I use hardly at all, but I know it's gotten a lot better over the last couple of months, and the new update might make me look at it. All right. So what is the new GPT 5.5 Instant updates? Well, it's only a couple hours old, but this is a new tuning pass on ChatGPT's default model. So yeah, talking about a billion weekly active users. This is the one that like 95% of them use. So some big updates. OpenAI said it focused on conversational quality rather than benchmarks, and OpenAI described it as making the model more fun to talk to with better intent recognition and a more reliable way of handling complex constraints. So it's already rolled out to paid users, and free users should be getting it probably today or maybe over the weekend. And this is actually surprisingly the third update to GPT 5.5 Instant since it was launched May 5th. So yeah, May 5th was kind of the GPT 5.5 launch, or early May there. So it's actually been updated a couple of times over the past month. So in theory, right, I think we've had some slowdowns, right, that I talked about in the intro, because of, Mythos and Fable getting pulled for some guardrail concerns. So maybe in theory, this might be a GPT-5.6 Instant in GPT-5.5 Instance Clothing, right? You generally don't see the instant model, which is the default model, used to be called Auto. You don't see it getting like name dropped by OpenAI more than once a release cycle. So who knows? Maybe this is kind of a precursor of what's to come. Here's what OpenAI said about it. They said, we have a new version of GPT 5.5 Instant for you, and it's much more fun to talk to. Our most used model is now better at understanding the intent behind a question and adopting its response accordingly. It also handles complex constraints more reliably and makes shopping and local recommendations more useful and cohesive. And then they said rolling out to paid users, rolling out today, and I believe this was late last night that they roll this out to paid users, and tomorrow to free users. So yeah, that would be today. So, I mean, why is it going to be useful? Well, if you start in instant, this is good, right? And a lot of people don't know this is an advantage that OpenAI has had for a long time that you still don't have like in Anthropic's models, but you can start a conversation with the instant model, right? If you're needing to go back and forth, and then you can switch over to, a thinking or a pro model and keep that context going. So in that case, I think this is something worth experimenting with, especially if your company is a heavy ChatGPT user, and maybe you've tried the instant model before and it hasn't really stuck with your workflow. So who's going to find this valuable? I think any power ChatGPT user, even myself, right? I usually always default to at least a thinking model at most times. So maybe this is one that I'll start using myself personally. But yeah, I mean, talking about the 1 billion weekly active users now have a new default version. All right, let's go next. And this is one that I think we normally wouldn't cover, but I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. Yeah, Google had a ton of big drops, and now they have Google Finance, which has been in beta for a while, but now it's rolling out to general availability. So Google Finance is exiting beta with a dedicated Android app, portfolio tracking, and the big reason why we're talking about here, an upgraded AI research tool. So you can build a portfolio and track it inside of Google Finance with all of the Gemini AI goodies just by dropping in a screenshot. You can upload a CSV or PDF or just describe your current holdings that are in your portfolio. Then you can ask the research tool questions like which sectors are underrepresented. So who has access right now? So portfolio and task features are on the web now, and the AI research tool and key moments are right now in the Android app, and the iOS app will be rolling out later this year. So why is this useful? Well, the scheduled briefings let you describe a task in plain language. For example, you can ask for a daily pre-market crypto analysis, or, you can go in once a week and just talk about, your portfolio. Why did this stock go up? What should I, maybe like me, maybe you're too heavy AI focused and you're like, hey, what other sectors should I be thinking about to balance out, to not be too heavily invested in the AI side. So I think people who are actively, active retail investors or anyone, tracking, their own portfolio multiple times a week, this is great. It's a free app. Google, obviously, it's the first thing I do when I check a stock, right? I just go into Google search. It brings it up in the search results. I don't even have to do anything. So at least for me, I'm very familiar with using the Google stock interface. So having that rolled out in the finance app with some of these AI features, really cool. So here is Google's kind of what they said about it. They said today we're also launching a new Google Finance app for Android, bringing the core of our new experience directly into the pocket. For people who find themselves checking in on the market multiple times a day, the new app is a dedicated place to easily access your watch list, as well as real-time data, a live financial newsfeed, the AI research tool, and AI-powered key moments that explain why a stock moved. So yeah, like I said, the app on the web available to everyone. If you do have an Android app, the new finance app is available now, and they will be rolling out the iOS app for iPhone users later. All right. Our next one, another one from Google, and another one I'm personally excited about because go ahead and pause your smart speakers now. All right. But Alexa has been very, very disappointing, right? The Alexa Plus rollout, which is something I've been trying to use, and me and my wife are always joking because we're like, this thing is supposed to be smarter, this Alexa Plus, and it's really not. So we might finally have an AI powered home assistant, right? The Siri from Apple has been delayed for years, right? And they face multiple class action lawsuits for promising an AI voice assistant but not delivering. Well, we finally have one from Google. So Google's first audio device built for the Gemini ecosystem is live with their Gemini for Home Assistant. So this supports, the big thing is that natural language, multi-step conversations that you can have with Google via Gemini, right? So, before Google had their home assistant, right? Obviously Siri had their different smart speakers. I don't think a lot of people use them. They probably just use Siri on their phone. And then obviously the Alexa has their variety of devices. But until now, at least when you're talking about a dedicated smart speaker at home, you haven't really been able to have that quote unquote smart conversation that you can have with, like a Gemini Live on your phone, right? In the Gemini app or the Google's advanced voice mode. By the way, we're seeing a lot of reporting that, OpenAI's advanced voice mode, we're seeing reporting that they're going to be rolling out a bi-directional voice mode soon. So, but we actually have a piece of hardware that's available now. My gosh, I'm excited about this one. So obviously, you can't just upgrade an old Google smart speaker. This is a new $99 smart speaker from Google that is available now. Yeah, just hit shelves like 24 hours ago. So it's available right now across the US, Canada, UK, and much of Europe, plus Japan, Australia, and New Zealand. So why is it useful? Well, you're talking to Gemini. So if you use the Gemini Live on the Gemini app, it's something I use all the time. It'll sound very, very familiar. So you can ask follow-up questions in real time without having to repeat yourself, carry the context of a conversation by talking to Gemini. So you don't have to string, together all these separate asks and just keep repeating yourself, right? So let's just say you're talking about the World Cup and you say, hey, when does USA play? And then you can just say, when's their next game without having to say, when is the United States last game or next game? So just a great way to carry the conversation on. So here is what Google says about their new smart speaker. So they said, get quick answers, something on your mind, ask your speaker and get questions to just about any question. Find it faster. When you remember the song, but forgot the name, tell Gemini what you know and it takes care of the rest. Say what you need. Get tasks done around the house by describing what you want. And maximize your day. Set calendar invites and reminders just by talking them out. Make quick edits to get the details just right. I do believe also you can do the same thing with your email. So any connected, Gmail service that you might use or Google service, I do believe that you can use this. So, if you're using Google Shopping, Google Calendar, those things, that's something I'm looking forward to, is just being like, hey, what's my next Tuesday look like? And being able to schedule tasks on my Google Calendar without having to open my phone or sit in front of my computer. That's something I do literally all the time. I'll be, talking with my wife in the house and, be like, oh yeah, got to get down to the calendar. And I talk about this all the time. I hate typing on my phone. I'm such a slow typer. So usually I'll literally walk downstairs, get in front of my computer just to add something to my calendar. There's a lot of details to it. So that's one thing. I'll probably be buying this. So let me know in the comments. Do you care about the home smart speakers? At least for me, I think it's such a big part of people's day-to-day lives that has yet to actually be truly impacted by AI, right? We have all these great, things that when we sit in front of our computer and all these, Claude desktop and codecs and, great apps on our phone. But, the smart speaker piece has always been something that's been sorely missing. AI moves too fast to follow, but you're expected to keep up. Otherwise, your career or company might lag behind while AI native competitors leap ahead. But you don't have 10 hours a day to understand it all. That's what I do for you. But after 700 plus episodes of Everyday AI, the most common questions I get is, where do I start? That's why we created the Start Here series, an ongoing podcast series of more than a dozen episodes you can listen to in order. It covers the AI basics for beginners and sharpens the skills of AI champions pushing their companies forward. In the ongoing series, we explain complex trends in simple language that you can turn into action. There's 3 ways to jump in. Number 1, go scroll back to the first one in episode 691. Number 2, tap the link in your show notes at any time for the Start Here series, or you can just go to starthereseries.com, which also gives you free access to our Inner Circle community where you can connect with other business leaders doing the same. The Start Here series will slow down the pace of AI so you can get ahead. All right, next one. And this, I think, might end up being the most used feature of this week. And who knows, maybe of all of June, since it looks like we're not getting any state-of-the-art releases. So Claude Tag is out from Anthropic. So this is a new way for teams to work with Claude inside of Slack. You can grant it access to different channels, connect tools, data, and code bases, then tag Claude to delegate tasks. So the cool thing here is it's multiplayer. So you have a shared Claude identity per channel that everyone can see, steer, and hand off to, and it builds context over time from the channels it's in. So this is available now in beta, but you have to be on either a Claude Enterprise or a Claude Team plan. So this is something I won't be able to use because I'm just on a, I think Claude Pro, right? The $200 a month plan. So I won't be able to use this. I don't have a Claude team plan, but I know a lot of organizations do. And it's something that seems to be getting a lot of steam and it's pretty popular so far, even though it's only been out for a couple of days. So this does, Claude Tag does replace the existing Claude app in the Slack app, and admins can opt in to migrate within 30 days, and eligible orgs can also get launch credit. So why is it useful? Well, you can set a task and then Claude will just work asynchronously while you focus elsewhere. It can also schedule its own tasks and pursue a project over hours or days. You can also add an optional ambient mode that you can toggle on that lets it proactively surface information and follow up on stalled threads. So this one to me was a little confusing about how it worked until I looked at it a little bit more, because there's been a ton of already kind of Slack AI assistants, right? It's pretty easy to build your own, right? They have a lot of services that can do that. There's been, official and unofficial plugins for a lot of the services. So I was like, okay, this has technically already been available. So what's different about Claude Tag that wasn't available in the Claude Slack app? So I think one of the best ways to think about it is previously, right? This is more of your own instance of Claude, right? That you could, try to, talk to like you would normally talk to Claude as an individual. Whereas Claude Tag, think of it like a manager per channel or a manager per department. So that's the big thing, that it's not just yours, right? That carries your context or you can assign tasks to, right? So Claude Tag is actually a coworker per channel that has that channel's memory. So most people use Slack, but if you don't, right, there's always a lot of very valuable information in there that, I think all companies need, right? Probably 2 or 3 years ago, I was helping teams, export all this data from Slack. This is before, Salesforce and Slack really became a leader in the headless space, which I think is great, right? But there's so much great information just in these long Slack channels. So now that's something that each Claude Tag in each channel will have access to, which is great. So I think if you shift your thinking of, it being your personal assistant inside of a channel, it is instead like a channel manager that keeps all of that information in mind. So an approach that I really like it. I really like it. One other thing that a lot of people have been talking about is in the announcement, Anthropic says that 65% of its product team's code now runs through this internal version, which I thought was pretty wild, if I'm being honest, right? So, is this like the new paradigm, right? A lot of people are calling this the new paradigm for work. I don't necessarily know, right? Because you can work inside of Slack and use Claude Tag, or, you can, use it in Claude Desktop and use it in Codex, right? So I don't necessarily know. It depends on how heavily your team uses Slack. Do all of your other important, tech stack, do they all work inside of each Slack channel for whatever reason? Permissions, access, all of those things. If so, maybe you might find yourself using like Claude Desktop less, or Codex less, and using this new feature called Claude Tag more. So pretty exciting, because I think it is something that a lot of people are going to like. So here's what Anthropic said. Claude Tag is a new way for teams to work with Claude. We're starting on Slack, which Claude can join as a team member, grants Claude access to selected channels, and connect it to whatever tools, data, and even code bases you choose. Then anyone in the channel can tag Claude in and delegate tasks to it while they focus on other work. Claude builds context by remembering relevant information from the channels it's in and can pan out tasks to complete in the future. They say we see Claude Tag as the beginning of an evolution of Claude Code. It makes the model even more proactive, and it works better with a full team. Tagging Claude is now one of the main ways to get things done at Anthropic. Today, 65% of our product's team's code is created by our internal version of Claude Tag. The same pattern is now spreading beyond engineering. We're tagging Claude to chase down product metrics and data, work through support tickets, and even help find the root cause of tricky bugs. And why I think that 65% is very interesting, because OpenAI just released a study hours ago that said, I think it was like 99.7% of their internal companies, like total token usage, is inside of Codex. So it's interesting to me that the overwhelming majority of outputs from OpenAI is coming from within Codex, yet 65% of just the product team's code in Anthropic is coming out of Slack. So it's interesting, right? Because I think there's been a lot of conversation, rightfully so, around harnesses. And, it's my personal opinion and a lot of people's personal opinion that the Codex harness is just way better. And, well, maybe that's because whether Anthropic's ahead of us all, I don't know. Well, they're just getting most of their work done in Slack, it seems like. So pretty cool feature. And yeah, let me know if maybe we should do a dedicated overview of this. I'll just sign up for a team plan if you guys want me to. All right. Next. Yeah. Canva. Another tool I use all the time. And I saw this one and I'm like, okay, not running any ads right now, but maybe I should, because I use Canva all the time. And they just announced and rolled out Canva Grow 2.0. So this is an expanded version of Canva's performance marketing platform that now automates the full workflow, everything from ad creation, publishing, and performance optimization in one place. So it generates static and video ads using brand context, audience signals, and past performance, with a upgraded Magic Layers integration to export AI-generated ads into the Canva editor for refinement. So this is available now, right? So they were rolling this out as part of the Cannes Film Festival, apparently, and it builds on the original Canva Grow that was announced in October 2025. So why is this useful? Well, if you are a marketer or an advertiser and you use Canva, this is huge. And I do know a lot of marketing and advertising teams, well, they use Canva, right? So Canva has obviously been one of the most popular platforms over the past decade, and they have been rolling out a lot of AI features. So, I mean, why is this useful? I mean, you can bulk publish launches, campaigns across LinkedIn, TikTok, Meta, all at once from your pre-existing assets. And then the creative can refresh automatically based on what's actually driving results. So this new feature promises to collapse creation, distribution, and optimization into one flow instead of separate tools. So here is what Canva said about it. They said today at Cannes Lions, we unveiled Canva Grow 2.0, and with it, a new way for marketing teams to create, launch, and learn from ads, all without leaving Canva. So they say we unveiled Canva Grow 2.0, designed to help teams stop managing tools and start building better campaigns. Canva Grow 2.0 brings ad creation, publishing, and performance optimization into a single AI native workflow, and is the most significant launch we've made for marketing teams yet. So yeah, we'll make sure to link this in today's newsletter. They have a great announcement post, but visually you can see it. It makes a lot of sense, right? It's just going to pull from all your different assets, so you can throw a lot of different creative into, if you've used something like image mode in ChatGPT, right, where you can use a handful of images as a source and then get something out of it. So it's kind of like that. So it's using your pre-existing brand language, throw in a bunch of your assets. It's going to make the different ads for the different sizes you need for the different platforms. And then it's going to track their performance across those different ad metrics. And then you can go in and see which assets actually work best. And then you can go make variations of those. All right, two more ones for you. Number one of the last two, Gemini in Chrome's new feature, Select from Screen. So this is a new tool in Gemini in Chrome that lets you highlight your current tab and select any text or image and add it to your prompt. So it's a quick way to focus a Gemini prompt on a specific on-screen element. So let me just break this down a little bit more, like what the heck this actually is. Well, this is possible because, like I kind of alluded to earlier on, Google just released computer use in Gemini 3.5 Flash. So this is a way, if you use the Gemini sidebar inside Google Chrome, this is a new feature that takes advantage of computer use by using the Ask Gemini sidebar in Chrome. So this is something I use all the time. I mean, if you're looking at my screen, you can see. Oh, it's actually weird. When I pop it out, let's see. There we go. All right. So it's just in the upper right-hand corner. And then this new feature allows you to use some of these computer use capabilities just right inside of Google Chrome without having to leave. So this is rolling out of in a new update in Chrome. So make sure that you update your browser after you see this. And it shipped alongside, but is technically separate from that Gemini 3.5 Flash computer use developer release. So here is what Google says about it. They say Gemini in Chrome now lets you focus a prompt with a new Select from Screen tool, while developers can tap into Gemini 3.5 computer use capabilities. Gemini in Chrome now has a Select from Screen tool that lets you quickly add an image to prompts. You can find it at the bottom in the plus menu. This highlights your current tab and has a select any text or image to ask Google. Afterwards, that image can be added to the prompt box. So this is actually, a release from a write-up from 9 to 5 Google. So why is this useful? Well, it removes the friction of copying, pasting, and describing what's on your screen. So this is what I would actually use a lot. And I still do this in other, Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, etc. But now maybe I can just do it in the Gemini app. So it brings the context of anything that's on your screen. So it's almost like if you would take a screenshot of something on your screen and then typing to say like, hey, can you describe this a little bit more or help me break this down? Well, now it takes that, kind of 3-step process into just one easier step with the computer use. All right. So if you are a heavy Gemini in Chrome user using that sidebar, you might like this. So just make sure that you update Chrome and check it out. All right. Last but definitely not least, for all of our people out there that are spending so much time in Excel, we have some new Microsoft Copilot goodies for Excel. So this is reusable Copilot skills for Excel, and they let users automate processes with sample finance skills, or you can build your own. So inside Microsoft Copilot, if you're using Excel, there are some sample or template skills that you can use that kind of create these, all these repeatable workflows that are very normal that anyone would be doing, inside of Excel. So I think a lot of times, right, you think of different formulas in Excel, but now if you flip it on its head and say, okay, well, no, now we're going to be doing skills. So instead of searching for skills, you can just use formulas that take these repeatable workflows and, well, it just will do it all automatically for you. So a skill guides Copilot through the steps, applying the right structure and formatting to produce output that's easier to review, reuse, and trust. So, who has access? Well, this pre-built finance skills is available for Microsoft 365 Copilot customers across Excel for web, Windows, and Mac. And then custom skills are in the insider channel for Windows and Mac. So custom skills hit general availability next month. But I do know that, this is millions, right? Millions of people that are already going to have access to this. So here is what Microsoft says about skills. A skill extends the capability of an AI model. Skills provide Copilot in Excel with information to complete repeatable tasks. With Copilot in Excel, you can choose from skills available in the Copilot pane or create your own custom skills. To use a skill, open Copilot in Excel, select the Add Work content menu in the prompt field, and then select all skills. The all skills list shows skills provided by Copilot in Excel and custom skills you've uploaded. All right, so who's going to find this valuable and why is it useful? Well, skills let teams define how Copilot completes common finance processes like building a DCF, closing your books, refreshing monthly reporting models, or preparing variance analysis. So custom skills are built using an open standard markdown file, which makes them easily shareable. And that's important. So maybe you have great finance skills that you've built out in Claude or ChatGPT or Codex or something like that. Well, you can import them into Excel now, which is pretty cool. So, if you're a finance professional, accountant, analyst, or if you're just in business intelligence, or if you're just someone like me that ends up spending a ton of time in spreadsheets anyways, I think you're going to find a lot of value out of this. All right. So that is a wrap. So quick recap on the 7 new AI features available today. A brand new version of GPT 5.5 Instant, OpenAI's most popular and most used model. We have the Google Finance app with all of the new AI features rolling out more broadly on the web, available to everyone on the Android app and rolling out soon to iPhone users. Speaking of Google, we have the new Google Gemini AI smart speaker. Bless up. Will we finally have a smart AI assistant at home? Maybe. We have Claude Tag, which I expect to be a very popular feature, bringing a Claude channel manager inside of Slack. We have Canva Grow, great for marketers who are creating in Canva and ultimately tracking asset performance inside different platforms and being able to update automatically. Gemini in Chrome, if you are a Gemini in Chrome user, the new Select from Screen feature that uses Gemini 3.0 Flash's new computer use capabilities. And last but not least, a way to automate a lot of repeatable kind of mundane tasks in Excel with the new skills feature in Copilot in Excel. All right, I hope this was helpful. We do this every single Friday, bringing you Friday features that you can use right away. If you're new here to the show, thank you for listening. On Mondays, here's our lineup. On Mondays, we bring you the AI news that matters. On Wednesdays, we normally go hands-on with a demo. We do that live. Fridays, we do the show Friday features. And Tuesdays and Thursdays, we switch up the show. So please, if you haven't already, subscribe to the show on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Then make sure to go to youreverydayai.com. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week and every day for more Everyday AI. Thanks, y'all.
And that's a wrap for today's edition of Everyday AI. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a rating. It helps keep us going. For a little more AI magic, visit youreverydayai.com and sign up to our daily newsletter so you don't get left behind. Go break some barriers, and we'll see you next time.